Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Corey Rodriguez.
And I'm Michael.
And you're watching Coog Cinema.
So, before we get knees deep in this discussion, let's take a look at our first impressions.
That was lame.
Okay, so 3 words. Scary. Actually, no. True to horror. That's it. That's
Definitely.
good.
I think I need to change my pants and then my underwear, of course, and do that again because I'm still wetting myself right now. It was really good though.
Yeah.
Let's cut back to you guys or us in the future and see what we think after we've digested this film a little bit more.
Sounds good.
So a couple of things before we get started for real. First thing is that this video will be completely spoiler-free. Cue the children cheering. Second thing is, every time we say the word we're going to ring this bell. And the point of that is to make sure that we're carefully thinking about what we're saying and to also make a better video that's a little bit more entertaining.
So, Corey, would you mind letting us know what this movie is about?
Yeah, so you might be asking, well, what's The Conjuring 2? What is that? I mean, I've heard of the first one, but what's the 2 about? So, The Conjuring 2 simply follows the story of Ed and Lorraine Warren, a pair of paranormal investigators and frankly, really caring people who help a troubled, overwhelmed English family deal with malicious spirits.
Thank you for your insight, Corey.
So now that we have that down, let's go into some discussions on the visuals.
Okay.
So what did you think of the visuals?
So the visuals are super nice. I don't really have any issue with them.
I would say it was beautiful. Dang it, did I really say
No,
it?
I said it.
Oh, you
didn't
said
catch
up?
me.
Oh,
Yeah.
crap. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Dang it. Good job.
I
Way to
just-
catch
I just-
yourself.
I just
I wasn't
looked at
even
you.
paying attention. Yeah. The visuals were indeed very beautiful.
I wasn't even finished with my thought.
Go ahead and finish your thought.
So, I liked it. The colors weren't undersaturated as much as a lot of other scary movies, and I appreciate that. It was just enough.
Yeah.
Let's just move past it, alright?
If you're a film buff or movie appreciator, you're going to like the visuals of The Conjuring 2.
Yeah. They were great.
Definitely every frame of painting type of stuff.
Yeah.
Really good.
Absolutely.
Any other notes? I think that about covers visuals. Let's move on to sound and music.
Sure. Okay, so before we do that, I have one more thing about visuals.
Yeah.
This is not this is not a spoiler, but it kind of is.
Even after I said this was spoiler-free, huh?
Yeah, this is not a big spoiler. The CGI in this movie is pretty good. It's actually really good, but
That's not a spoiler.
But it's not perfect, and they may or may not show the demons in this movie way too much, and whenever they show it that long, it's very easy to pick it apart, and that's just an issue I have with it.
Yeah.
It's pretty small. It's pretty small.
Not testable by any means, though.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
not their fault.
So moving forward with the sound, I really enjoyed how this film uses sound artistically. And one thing to note is that a lot of movies rely on horror. You find this in horror movies a lot, that if you were to watch it without the music, it wouldn't be nearly as scary.
Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
argue that The Conjuring 2, you'd be able to watch without the music, and it'd be nearly as scary, although not as scary, of course. But it doesn't rely on the music to have that scary appeal. And so you're going to really enjoy it in that regard.
Yeah, the sound design was great, but it wasn't the crutch of the movie. It was good.
That's about all I have to say for that. We can move forward to the story overall.
Sure.
And other notes. The story was, I would say, compelling. And although it was a scary movie, it didn't feel like the the main like show is like, hey, we're gonna scare you all the time. It had some compelling moments in it and some heart-touching moments, and that's what I think is really cool about the Conjuring series.
Riding in the car on the way back from watching the movie, and I don't know how I'm going to sleep tonight. That was honestly really scary. I mean, it was good. It was good. It was scary though, really scary.
Something to note is that I've seen the first Conjuring, whereas you haven't. Is that right?
That is correct.
And so it wasn't as like, yeah. So it wasn't
So fun.
a direct copy. I said not It wasn't a direct copy of the first Conjuring. It kind of had its own take. So it wasn't a direct copy, but it did have like the same like slight comedic bits and touches. Okay, whatever.
Okay. What?
We're just gonna stop the bell for now.
Okay. This is pretty fun though.
Think about what you're gonna say before you say it, son.
Yeah. Okay. We're talking about the storyline, correct?
We're talking about the story, our characters, anything along those lines.
I felt that the storyline was a little washed down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not disappointed by that. I understand that whenever you have to appeal to a mass audience, and this movie is, or at least it was very anticipated by a lot of people, because a lot of people like the first movie, so I hear. I know that they had to like wash down the storyline a little bit with like a little romance and a little like father-daughter, not father, not related type of thing. There was a lot of like small cliches that were dismissible. I had no problem with the storyline, especially considering the rest of the movie was absolutely great.
I will say this. The story is, in a sense, formulaic, and although I said previously that it's not a direct copy of the first movie, it does have that same formula, or recipe. But it's a recipe that works, right? And essentially, to continue with that metaphor, it may be the same recipe, but there are a couple of different ingredients that really freshen the taste.
Chives.
Yeah, and some lime. Definitely.
Okay, so the next thing. What's the next
Moving
thing?
on to just generic notes
Okay.
about the film.
So, generic notes, meaning I get to look at this pad.
Yes.
So, the pace slows down a little bit in the middle of the movie. It's not an issue for me. I like it, actually. It gives me a break from being very scared. And I feel like as an audience member, I shouldn't be expecting the director to just scare me for an hour and 30 minutes. That's a lot of work for a director. Gets tiring, gets less scary. It ruins the value of getting scared. So I feel like the fact that the pacing slows down, which I assume a lot of people might criticize that aspect of the movie, I thought it was fine.
Mm-hmm. I would say this is a modern classic in scary movies.
Could be.
Right? We look back on Halloween and Friday the 13th, things of that nature. In the future, we're going to be looking back at The Conjuring 2.
Could be.
And The Conjuring 1, of course. Something to also note is that if you enjoyed the first Conjuring, you're also going to enjoy the second Conjuring. And that was somewhat implied when I said that they're related, they have the same recipe.
Yes.
I would definitely recommend that you watch it in theaters because it's really good. Definitely worth seeing as soon as possible. But it also would be worth seeing in your house alone if you want to get the true scary experience, if you can, of course.
Or with a special someone.
Yeah, they will definitely scoot in close and it'll be a good time for you to bond. You'll make it through this really scary movie together.
Yeah. I have two more things to say.
Yes.
So, one more grievance and one more positive note. The movie it wasn't necessarily a masterclass movie. It wasn't Citizen Kane. It wasn't a master of cinema. But it was a very good movie. It was a very good movie. And there aren't a lot of good horror movies that respect the audience and give them a chance to think and not just be scared by no sound and then a loud noise. It respected you. And it allowed me to not just have my hands over my face the entire time and just like wait for that loud noise that just would startle you by instinct and not because the movie is good, So it was a great movie. The bottom line is that I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought. I thought I wouldn't like this movie whatsoever. I liked it a lot more than I like 90% of the movies that I see.
And if you're not a scary movie person, I would say that this is the perfect movie
Exactly.
to change
Yeah,
that.
absolutely, absolutely.
And I guess my last note before we conclude is that the purpose of this movie is not to scare you. And you may question that, thinking, well, why? It's a scary movie. Of course it's supposed to scare me. Right. But the purpose of this movie is to tell a good, scary story,
It does.
not to scare you. And that's what I think is the best quality about, I guess, The Conjuring as a whole, 1 and 2.
Right. I don't think you're gonna see movies this good in the horror genre for a while. They're very rare, and I'm happy to have had the opportunity to see it.
All right. Well, I think that about concludes this up. Be sure to follow us on social media. Links in the description below.
YouTube.
If the description is below still. I don't know why the description wouldn't be below. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Yeah? Solid? Cool. Let's cut it.
Do you not want to rate it or anything?
Oh.